Alright, so this is going to be my review of Thunderbolts Worldstrike. This was part of the still going Marvel haul from my friend Chris. Thank you once again, brother. And yeah, so we're going to be talking about this, what was supposed to be an ongoing book. And this is basically written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanning, the people behind the Captain America run that led to Cold War. And this is basically what I guess you could call the epilogue piece to that book. I haven't read the rest of that story arc. Chris did tell me that the rest of that story, of that Captain America storyline, including Cold War, will be in the Marvel Hall. So I was thinking about waiting to read this later until I had a little more context, but I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna knock this book out now and give my thoughts throughout. So kind of reading it backwards in a way. Anyway, so this comic, for context, is a story about Bucky Barnes, who in the Lanning and Kelly run of the Captain America series, basically Captain America and Bucky discover that there's this group called the Outer Circle who are playing this game to control the world. Bucky thought the best way to handle it was betraying Steve and becoming a member of the Outer Circle called the Revolution. After which, Cold War's over. Bucky's still persona non grata with Steve and Sam. So what happens is they basically have split ways, but Bucky still wants to save the world. So he puts together a new team with Valerie Fontaine. I know there's a whole more to it. And basically creates the Thunderbolts with one action in mind: to kill the Marvel supervillains and put them down permanently. And the first one they're going after is the Red Skull. This was meant to be an ongoing. I know people have said, like, oh, it's meant to be a miniseries, but no, this was clearly meant to be an ongoing that got cut down to 4 issues. It's the same thing with, like, when I was reading the all-new Punisher book that only also ran for 4 issues before unceremoniously getting canceled, when it was clear that this was meant to be an ongoing. They even said, same with the all-new Punisher, that this was meant to be an ongoing, but then it suddenly got canned after 4 issues. I wish Marvel would have a little more faith in, at least at the bare minimum, give them 6 issues rather than just 4. I guess that's how bad it went. The only thing I can imagine is that they didn't promote it right, and also no one was excited for this lineup. Absolutely no one was excited for this team, because it's literally the MCU lineup with Natasha now with a symbiote. Yeah, Natasha has a symbiote now. That was in Al Ewing's Venom. And Sharon Carter and Shang-Chi added. But really, it's the MCU. The rest of it is just the MCU lineup. So I don't think anyone was really excited for this comic. Which sucks, because I really like it. It really does suck that this comic got prematurely shit-canned. But there are some problems with it. One being the whole raison d'etre, if you will, of this comic, where Bucky and his Thunderbolts are going to be killing major Marvel superheroes. The problem with that is you can't do that. You've already lost the premise already, because the whole thing of it is that you can't kill every major Marvel superhero. No matter, like, I remember even, like, there was a run for Punisher that tried to do the same thing, and though he got to kill the Mandarin, that didn't matter, because A, other writers want to use these characters for stories, and B, killing them is not going to matter, because they're just going to get resurrected either anyway. But the big thing is, you can't have a book killing major superheroes in it without, obviously causing some confliction with other writers. So there was a problem. So yeah. But the main comic is, they do like, Kelly and Lansing really did like Ed Brubaker's Captain America, because they do go after Red Skull, who is still Lucan, the guy, Alexander Lucan, who was the guy Skull possessed. So they kill Lucan, but the original Johann Schmidt is resurrected, and now he's hiding in Latveria, and it becomes a mission to stop Schmidt once and for all. Even though, yes, they even mentioned that, yeah, we could probably, these guys are probably going to come back at some point. I really like this story. It does feel pretty cut down, because of, again, it only got 4 issues, but still, I really like the back and forth with all the characters. They also talk about how Valerie Fontaine, basically this version of her is a fucking life model decoy, because it turns out she died in a Russian gulag like 8 years ago, and what we've been seeing is a robot, is been a life model decoy with weapons. So that was kind of a neat twist. It isn't treated with anything. Like, it's like, oh my god, that's like, Valerie's been dead for so many years. Oh well, moving on. I also feel like they'll probably retcon that and be like, when we get closer to Thunderbolts being, the actual Thunderbolts movie coming in the MCU, I have this sneaking suspicion they will retcon the shit out of this. Because no one paid attention to this fucking book. Yeah, I like the back and forth there, although there is one line in here that made me go, that was dumb. The dumbest line I heard was when they're fighting Kingpin, and they're getting, like, Bucky, Natasha, and Yelena are getting away from Fisk, and he goes, next time you hear thunder, Wilson, stay the hell out of the lightning. Get it? Because justice like lightning, the Thunderbolts? That's so fucking dumb. And that is the dumbest line. And Kelly and Lansing are always a creative group a creative duo that I really like in terms of Marvel and DC writing. But that was one line where I was like, that was fucking stupid. That was a fucking stupid line. And there's also but aside from that, there's a lot of fun in this comic too. Like, they have to battle the American kaiju. Remember that thing? It's basically Marvel's Godzilla, but as a U.S. monster. And how they do it is literally, Bucky has to get Pym particles, and he becomes I'm not shitting you. This actually happens, where Bucky grows to fight the American kaiju. Like, look at that. I'm like, it automatically takes back from that stupid one-liner Bucky said. But yeah. Do I recommend this? As much as I liked it, I can't say I can recommend it, because it is like an epilogue unless you read the Kelly and Lansing Captain America. You're probably not going to get. I mean, you could in theory, because it's more. But again, it really ties to a lot of what happened there, so it is like an epilogue piece. So unless you read the Kelly and Lansing Captain America series, I'm going to have to say pass on it. And it really does feel like it got cut down really hard. So I will also say that I like the Devil's Reign tie-in they added in with Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier Devil's Reign tie-in. I really like that. That was pretty cool. It was a great little one-shot. But yeah. Yeah. Also, like, we get to see Bucky get his ass handed to him by Kingpin while he's sleepwalking. Yeah, that happens. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is my review of Thunderbolts Worldstrike. Hope you all enjoyed this. Chris, thank you once again for the comic. And other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.